So we're back now. I decided to get the book so I can give you the exact quote that's been mind-boggling to me, and I'd like to know your thoughts on it. All right. Whenever you make a choice, ask yourself 2 questions. What are the consequences of this choice? And will this choice bring happiness to me and to those who are affected by this choice? Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? And this is from the law of karma in the 7 spiritual laws.
I think that's how people should act. Mm-hmm. I think it's also very difficult because, like, in business situations, you can't act like exactly the way that you would like to be treated.
Yeah.
But that's how I try to live my life in general. Mm-hmm. That I will not do something or say something to someone that I wouldn't want done to me.
Mm-hmm. I think I like that quote, and I've been thinking about it a lot recently because I always think, and it comes directly to the spiritual journey. What if we're like both on 2 journeys that are parallel and they're gonna cross, and this decision I'm about to make could impact the both of us, but it could be worse for me.
Okay.
And the only reason I think about like that is like, when is it okay for you to fully just accept your selfishness and just be who you want to be, or just do what you need to do to carry on this road? I know that's a very loaded statement.
Yeah, it's also very difficult because I'm in a position where I'm having to learn to be selfish.
Same here.
And having to learn the benefits of being selfish and choosing myself. So, like, I agree with that. I think that
we got you. Okay.
I'm back.
You're back. Like you never left.
That when you're giving, you should be conscious of like who it's going to and what you're doing with that gift. But at the same time, there's no reason in giving a gift if it's gonna put you out. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a difficult part of spirituality and something that I'm definitely like teetering on because obviously I want to help everyone. Like I want to do the best for everyone, the best for every single person that I can.
Yeah.
But every single one of those people don't care about me and are willing to just take all the gifts I'm giving them without ever giving me anything back. And that's where the selfishness comes in, because I think it's irresponsible almost to get into relationships where you're giving all of your energy away and not receiving anything back.
And I think that's where we can now transition to probably the main topic of today's podcast. And that is basically friendships. Right? So for those who don't know, and I don't think you know either, this month's theme is love.
I love
different
that.
kinds of love.
I love that.
So the next episode will be more romantic love.
Okay, cool.
But this episode
is... Are you going to get in somebody that you've hooked up with, chat?
Oh, no. We're not on that. No.
That would expose too many secrets.
Yeah. No.
Especially not on video format.
No. I like to keep my private life private.
Fair, as you should.
Yeah. So today, obviously, it's about platonic love, and I recently... So, I'll lead the way and I'll start this. And I want to see what you think about this. So, obviously, the power of words is very strong. And I think one word that people have struggled with since the dawn of time, arguably, or let's just say since modern civilization, which is towns, cities, and so forth, we'll start from that point, has been, what does love mean? And I say this because I have a great group of friends. Shout out to Angie, Astrology Star Slut, had her on the podcast. Shout out to her. We recently, as good friends, have like said, listen, we love each other. Like, I love you, I love you. When we end conversations, and it was spurred, funny enough, because of a romantic situation I had with someone else and a story, but that's not for this podcast. For
another time.
Yeah, that's definitely not for this podcast.
Couple years time. When you're telling people about your, like, when you're on the streets type of vibes. You know what I mean?
Like that.
But isn't that's what it's called?
Yeah.
When you're on the streets and you're looking for people and you know, that's what it's called.
Basically.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't want it to sound like I'm on the street. I'm a child. I was about to say I'm a child of God, but I don't say that anymore. But we're all childs of our own gods.
Facts.
Yeah, let's get into the friendship thing. Do you think that, and it also relates to the power of words, it relates to, you know, giving and receiving and energy, that the word love has been a very confusing thing in your friendships? That's a very loaded question again.
It's it's a very...
So take it where you want to take it.
I will.
Right.
I feel fortunate that I know what love feels like. So when I'm with people that I love, I know because I feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also very self-aware, and I've forced myself to be self-aware. Mental health, love
Shout
it.
out to that. Very important.
Yeah, and through that, I think my like meaning of the word love and like who I say it to is very much depending on how I feel about them, and I can't explain that feeling. Like it's just love. Like it's just like an all-knowing, like understanding that other individual will help you in every way they can, even if it's putting them out. And it's the exact same way the other way around. And it's actually very interesting. The guy that I'm seeing at the moment's brother has been asking me to tell him that I love him forever. He says, Nicole, you're my best friend. He chats a bit of shit, but I love it. You're my best friend. Why won't you tell me that you love me? And I'm like, I can't. And he says, why not? I said, I can't tell you I don't love you. I don't. And I can't tell you I love you if I don't love you. I said, I can manipulate you and lie to you, but that's not what I want to do. That's not who I am.
It's not good energy.
Exactly. It's not. And it's just going to make my karma fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think with friends, it's been a little bit more difficult because there's like a level that it's not just like a good friend anymore, that you truly love them. But it's a feeling, like I said, I can't explain it. But at the same time, I've been very fortunate to have friends that I love and have friends that I don't love, you know, but I don't love them, but I have love for them. And having and being able to find the difference between the two has also helped me a lot in like my definition of love.
I think that's interesting. That's actually very interesting. I think for myself, I am a person who, okay, so you know me, when I get into my Googles and my Discovery Channel mode, when I get in David Attenborough of the anatomy of humanity, I go deep in it. So love is something that has been on my mind for a while, especially between platonic people as friends and so forth. And especially as a male, right? And I'm specifically using gender in this part of it because anyone can feel as a male at any point. Gender, it was created for stupid reasons. Sex is a different conversation. I'm not a doctor, so you're going to have to get Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz on for
Imagine, that'd be pretty sick.
I don't want Dr. Oz on.
I feel like you would just berate them, like ask them questions that they actually don't have the answer to, to prove that they don't have the answers. Yeah,
their publicist wouldn't let them through. That's the thing. I don't know how business works. Their publicist would be like, no, this is a flight risk.
This is a flight risk.
But I'm also got into it, so I'm very particular with the word friend.
Yes.
Extremely particular.
I'm starting to learn to be as well.
And I think I brought it up to you end of last year, because, as you people might know, I live between two cities.
So you're in contact with a lot of different people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And keeping bonds is something very important to me, especially because I'm very, as the book, 7 Spiritual Laws, as Midnight Gospel, what we're talking about, as everything ties into, it's very hard, like, the connection and the giving and receiving of certain things is something that has to be consistent for me to call you a friend, right? And something that's also said in this book in the previous chapter to what I read was that you can always give a gift, even if it's just telling someone that they look good today, or that I'm happy to be in your presence. Because sometimes it's the small things that help people understand the love without saying I love you.
Yes.
So as being up and down, I can understand how bonds can break and wither and just like weaken.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people in my life that when I was matriculating, even though I did my A-levels, so not matriculating, but those, like, we were close, gang, we thought we would go to uni, life, gang, and then
homies for life.
Exactly.
And then you don't chat for 2 years and you realize that connection's gone.
Yeah. The minute I got on the plane, it was almost like, well,
which, it's sad to say, but it just means that connection wasn't as strong as you thought in the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm a very big believer that there's certain people that you meet in different seasons of your life. and at different times, and the universe will bring you a person that you need if you're not looking for it, because the universe doesn't bring you things you're looking for always.
Yeah.
The universe will bring you who you need when you don't know you need it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's a beautiful thing to be able to connect with people, but it can also be the worst thing ever, because then you have so many connections and it's so difficult emotionally to like decide who is actually a friend, who actually cares about you, because you'll never be in the other person's brain, so how will you ever actually know? And like you said, it's those little things that make you know, that like reassure you almost.
I think for me it also like started, and I know this is something so stupid, but I'm a person who, I will remember your birthday. It's something I learned from my mom. My mom remembers every single individual's birthday, and this was before Facebook, and then Facebook happened, and she was like, look how everyone remembers people's birthdays. And at first I was like,
doing this for years.
Yeah, like she's like,
that's amazing.
It was my uncle's birthday the other day, and like, you know, Facebook tells you at like 9-10 a.m. My mom called at 6 a.m. I was like, hello.
Before Facebook told me.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's 8 a.m. I
know.
I know. Look.
But I was a person who was like, the way where someone would wish me happy birthday, like whether it's phone call, WhatsApps, Snapchat at the time, or whatever it was, would tell me how well they know me and what our kind of relationship was at the time.
Okay.
I know it sounds weird, but I was able to track it over time.
Yeah.
So there's certain people who like they didn't know when my birthday was.
Yeah.
Cool, that's fine. It's not like we go around saying, hey, it's my birthday on the 3rd of October, so you better remember. Telling them in January, and they're like, okay. But I'm a person who just I don't tell my birthday.
Okay.
I'm just using this as an example. So there were certain people who only knew from Facebook, and they would just say on Facebook. But there were certain people who, even if they did know from Facebook, they found a way
to message you directly
or call me or whatever. And over time it changes because you have too many Facebook friends, connections that are not actual real connections, etc.
Somebody you met at the Joel and you got a request the next day, like, how did they find me?
Yeah, how do you know my surname like that? It's not on my Instagram. How dare you? So that's what it was. And then I got to like, now we age 20, 21, it's getting to that. So now I was like, there's a lot of people from high school and stuff I don't speak to. I went to 3 high schools. Of course, there's going to be
a whole bunch of people you connected with that you never connected with.
But then...
Oh, sorry, should I say interacted with but never connected with?
Or you can even say connected, because it's like a spider web.
Okay, yeah.
Eventually, some of them are just... someone walked through it, something will happen.
Yeah.
It could just be, look, now we're just so far past it, we've grown in different directions. We've taken 2 different spiritual paths at this point.
Yeah, fair.
The point I'm trying to make with that is, have you ever had a friendship breakup? Look at that transition. Guys, one day people are gonna like just look at me and say, how does he do this?
I'm looking at you right now and thinking it.
So, have you had a friendship breakup before?
Yeah, I have.
And how was that experience? You don't have to get into it.
No. I'll obviously I won't say the person's name, but I'll speak about the gist. Honestly, for the longest time, I couldn't confront people.
Okay.
Couldn't do it. I was too nervous, too scared. It freaked me out. I would rather just ghost, rather just fucking disappear, you know. But now I've learned the power of confrontation and the ability to just say how I'm feeling, to be like, listen, you really impacted me in this way. What are you going to do about it?
Okay.
Instead of me just festering and be like, oh, fucking, what a rude person. I hate that this person didn't do this. Like, I'd rather just be honest and get it off my chest. And with 1 or 2 people, I've said what I need to say, and they've said, cool, whatever. And then that's been it. That's been the breakup. That I've just like vocally addressed my discontent with the way that the individual has been acting, and they responded. The friendships carry on if they respond, shit, didn't realize I was affecting you like this. Yeah, let's address it. Or even, no, the way that you're thinking of this, that was not my intentions. It's like a healthy conversation. Yeah. Those friendships usually carry on. The ones that don't carry on are the ones that they go, no, but you did this. Why don't you do that? Why don't you message me when you're here? I have no responsibility to do anything for you. Facts. Especially if you've done nothing for me in the last couple of years, or the last couple of months, the last hour, whatever your situation is. But I've just found that the best way to do it is just be honest. And if the person responds like combatively and like angrily and just wants to blame me, then I'm like, thank you very much, I'm done. Like this is it, and that's the breakup. And it's that's it. But I've also had situations with people that I want to like break up with them friendship wise. Like I'm over this friendship, it's hurting me, it's taking too much of my like energy and emotional cup, you know, it's taking too much of me. But I just can't because I love them. So I like slowly start cutting my time away from them. Like I'll mute them on WhatsApp, and then that gives me the time to think what's actually affecting me, so then I can be vocal about it.
So from that, have you changed, like, how has that affected you more so like personally having to go through some of these things? Because I can only say I've only experienced maybe one friendship breakup, and then another one, I think it's still breaking up now.
Okay. It's
like,
in the process of...
Oh no, this has been a long process now. This is going on for... When was October again? Like, since October, basically.
Yeah.
So how has that affected you, like, mentally, like, spiritually, all of that? And more so, have you found that, like, certain relationships have changed and it's been okay still?
Yes.
So either better or worse?
Yeah. So for the first point, like how I've done emotionally, spiritually, physically, like obviously in the moment it's very upsetting and like it gets to me because I love so deeply. Like I really do. And if people like try step over me or try to be sneaky around me, it really bothers me. And if I have to get involved to confront you like that, that means it's really boiled to a point where my emotions are so heightened that like I actually worry that I'm going to say something that I regret. So like in the moment it's very like high emotion, like high stress, high anxiety, all of that. But afterwards I usually feel a sense of like relieved. Like this thing that's been bugging me at the back of my brain, meaning this person or this relationship that's taking from me, is now gone, and I can clear my mind. I can sit and be still and not have to worry about messaging that person or checking in on them or anything like that, which is great. And then what was the second thing? Have
relationships changed?
100%. Yeah. So I feel grateful to have awesome friends that if I say, listen, the way that you spoke to me here, I really don't appreciate. Using that word, I really don't appreciate. Like certain things that trigger me is a very intense word to use. It's not a trigger, but it's like it incites a lot of emotion in me. I will speak to them about, and those people, like if it's carried on through the first me confronting them, then it usually carries on long, because like I really believe in, if there's a problem, speak to me. Like I'm so understanding. I'm one of those people that I will bend backwards to make sure that you get your shit done before I even get my shit done. Which is something I'm unlearning because it's not always good. But like I really respect when people can just be honest with me. And the relationships that I've had where I can just be honest with people carry on, because it's just that honesty and like, it's like raw love, if that makes sense. Like I don't want anything to be done bad to you. So I'm going to tell you exactly why you're hurting me so that we can carry on.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me think, so this is what I'll ask now. Do you think it's more so okay, so do you think some of these instances you've been in have been because of kind of the culture that we're in around you in Johannesburg? So as a shared social culture, not the individual cultures of because obviously there's a difference. Like you'll have a different relationship with a different person because of what they bring from home. But then people, especially our age, we have this mixed culture here in Johannesburg. Johannesburg is like huge, but it's small. Like in terms of population, it's huge.
But like the social circles are small.
Tiny. Tiny.
100%.
Like as I told you earlier, not going to say people's names, like I just met someone you went to school with, but it's like, I never would have expected that
person that we know each other from such a long time ago.
The whole time I was flabbergasted.
Joburg's really crazy like that. It's actually a little bit scary. Like you can't speak to someone about someone without thinking that they know them. not that you should be speaking about other people, but even if it's like this person really irritated me today, like I couldn't say that to one of my mutual acquaintances, because they probably know that person's best friend or their boyfriend or their, like, it's too tight.
Yeah, it's too close.
Yeah.
So to ask the question again, do you think that this Johannesburg shared culture, there's certain things that have impacted friendships for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think the hookup culture in Joburg's very interesting, and people like to be with other people's people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely also certain people that the general population like idolizes and wants to be around, which blows my mind, because like we're all just kids fucking living, you know. Some have more money than others, but like that's what does that do? Get you an extra bottle, chat nicely, you'll get some bottle back, you know.
Listen, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know, you know.
Chat nicely, get a wine bottle. Ooh.
Just be kind, like just But what was your question again? Oh, the culture. Yeah, I think it's very like incestuous, which has caused a lot of issues, especially when I was in high school with other girls. Like I would say, I really like that guy. I really like that guy. Next weekend we'd all go out, and one of my friends would be kissing him, and it's like, I don't understand. He came up to me and kissed me. That's caused issues.
Yeah.
But in the more recent years, like after high school, I don't really like associate with people that cause issues over small shit. Like I said, if you have a problem, come tell me. Like if you think I'm dancing too far from you, come tell me. I'll dance closer. I don't know. But I've had that before. Somebody got angry at me for dancing on the left stage when they were right stage.
Shout out Truth when you... Shout out Truth.
Yeah, I miss Truth. Come back, Truth.
But I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah. I've been in a few situations where I think I've always been like, I'd like to think for myself, very anti the Johannesburg culture.
Fair.
Or rather, I would be called like a hipster to some people.
Like you're in it, but you're not mentally in it. You're still like living your best life, doing the things that you believe are right, but you're still dancing with the homies, you know?
Like I think a lot of what happens, like, so this is how I look at it. There are people who are in groups, like ingrained in a group.
Yeah.
And then there are people who jump groups. Not in a bad way, but because I'm one of them, I'm not like...
Yeah, they just don't have a social circle. They have like individuals that they go chill with, and those individuals have groups.
Yeah.
No, I get you.
And that's how a lot of the incestual stuff starts to happen.
Yes.
Because it's like, okay, it's me, and then I come with one of my boys to you, and then we know, and now we all know each other.
Yeah.
It starts to get to this thing where, like, when is the line of, like, when is it friends versus acquaintances versus plumber, I know at the draw.
Yeah.
Because now if I see you next week again at like Jolly's, and now we're both doing this thing of like, okay, you come to my side, now you're still with the same people, and then it gets to a whole thing of like, oh, you this person. So I do think that culturally we've got, it's so weird because at the same time we're very narrow-minded, but it's very broad at the same time. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but
it's almost like Joburg culture has like a set of ideals that everybody follows, and it's a broad set of ideals, but that's the set of ideals. It's like a certain way you should look when you go out. Yeah. It's like and not to say that if you don't do that, like you're going to be looked down on and stuff like that, but it's simple things like not wearing makeup when I go out. I've kind of stopped wearing makeup. I don't wear it as much anymore, and I notice when I go out, people like are confused by it. They ask me like, "Are you not wearing makeup like to a club?" And I'm like, "Didn't feel like it. Like I don't know. I was lazy today."
Let's go.
And it's almost like there's a certain standard. It's sad to say, but there's like a certain standard that the drawling culture kids want you to be, and if you are there and you're willing to do the things that they do, then you're welcomed in. But if you're not, then you're not welcomed in, but you're just not invited to the secret parties. You're not invited to the sneakies that are happening, or the chats that they're having, which I think can like cause a divide in the acquaintance and friends.
Yeah.
Because like if you're in those circles, all those homies are best friends. But if you're just out like looking in, you'll never be welcomed in.
Yeah.
There's a very set like these are the homies.
Yeah.
in Joburg, and it's like we want to meet all the people and be friends with everyone, but these are the homies, hey?
Yeah.
Don't forget, this is our table. This is where we're at. We have to check everyone else out before we can make any decisions of who's chilling with us. Yeah, it's I get what you mean, that it's broad but not.
Yeah,
like open-minded but not.
Yeah, because it's like what you said, like literally just sprung something in my head. It is very, you can stick out like a sore thumb depending where you go. Like if we go to Bram right now, we don't stick out like a sore thumb. They're like, oh, these are Bram kids. Yeah. We go out in Santon, they're like,
yeah, why are they wearing dungarees?
Yeah, like, what the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, their shoes aren't clean.
Listen, and I don't care.
Exactly.
I still look sick when I go out. Like, I've always just like, I know when to blend and when not to blend. I think that's the one thing I learned in Johannesburg. When and when not to. But for the most part, the minute I reach like 17, and I'll thank my boy Martin for it. Shout out Martin. Shout out. One of the things I literally just got in my life was just like, you know what? Honestly, if you're going to keep doing this chameleon thing, you're going to be tired.
No, it's constant. It's like constant effort to decide where you want to be and then match that instead of just existing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I've tenfold seen so much more. Like, I'm not afraid to turn someone away from me because maybe this person that doesn't like me in terms of how they see my energy and stuff because they don't understand it or they think they're not going to get along with it. If we avoid the confrontation in the future, I love it. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, if I ever go out somewhere, more than likely I'm not dressed like some of the people I'm around. Yeah. It's not like I'm intentionally do it.
Yeah, you're just dressing the way you like to dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to some people it's just a combination of things I wear at times. Like obviously I'm not saying I dress like a flipping clown and now I'm like, woo.
But you have steez. Don't think you don't have steez. I think people get intimidated by your steez.
Thanks, man.
No, but it's true. Like there's just so many haters. And I think it was 2018. I realized all the haters are just jealous. Every single fucking one of them. But it's because of something you said to me, and it's something that I've like consciously chosen to live by, is that there's certain people that will already assume you hate them before you've even entered the room. And that has genuinely like changed the way that I interact with people, because I also noticed I did the exact same thing. Instead of choosing to believe in myself and knowing I'm a cool chick, like I can hold a good conversation and I can relate to people and I can, you know, like connect with people. Yeah. I chose to think, oh no, they must hate me. They must hate me for whatever reason, you know, insecurity, self-doubt, all of these things, you know. But it's very interesting that a small change in mindset like that can immediately impact the way that you associate with people and decide like who's your friend, who's not your friend. Because from there, walking into a situation and knowing that some people have already chosen to hate me just because that's the way it is, I feel like I'm able to see things so much more clearly. I'm able to like walk into a situation and obviously I'll never know the person's intentions, but for the most part I can assume, and they're usually relatively right, what the person's intentions are and where they're coming from their, like if it's a genuine action or not. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's from removing myself from the situation and deciding that it's just like I must just exist. I must be happy with the way that I am and the way that I move to impact others the way that I am, not because I think this person this and that person that and whatever. Which is also something that I think the Joburg culture like almost ingrained in me, because I've been drawing from young. Like I love the drawl. I love to dance so much. Like I miss it so much. I have to go find somewhere to dance soon.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that after the podcast. But before you end on that, I do think one thing I wanted to ask, and it will transition to the next part of the conversation. So you went to a girls' school, obviously.
Yeah, all girls, Catholic convent.
And I'm sure, obviously, when in your high school, you had probably more girl friends than you did guy friends at some point.
Looking back, I had more girl acquaintances and more guy friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the question I would ask then is, do you think it's a... Well, it actually relates to... Do you think that, like, in Joburg, the culture allows for a lot of, like, male and female friendships, like, without thinking these two are
being together?
cheeks?
No, because that's what people are going to think, no matter what. When a male and a female are together, they're going to think that there's some romantic intention there. I think that's just the way we're bred to believe things. And I think that's very ingrained in Joburg culture as well, because, as I said, it's very incestuous. So people are constantly going out and hooking up with people, and especially at a younger age, that was the goal.
Yeah.
Like, that was the reason for people going out.
I can remember clearly just on WhatsApp groups, boys were going out to pull chicks, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Shout out to that though. You guys can do what you want to do. Just do it safely, because
100%, and with consent. That's all.
Yeah. Whoa,
safe and consent.
Number one.
Yeah, it shouldn't even be a requirement. It should be the stand. You know what?
It should be a given without.
Yes, without you having to know to. I feel like I just fucked
it's
that
such
up.
I understand what you're saying. It's such a weird thing that
consent is important. Don't get my words mixed up.
Number one. If she says no, get the fuck away.
Facts.
And stop being a dickhead sometimes.
And I've always looking in the camera like, all you fuckers.
And to the ladies also, don't touch his dick if he says no.
Facts.
Because that's happened to me twice.
That's sexual harassment.
Listen, that's not a conversation for this podcast.
Yeah, fair. We'll get into it another time, because obviously
that's a heavy
and that's also like a very big part of Joling culture, which is very scary.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was the question you asked me initially?
So most of the the platonic relationship between male and female.
I think people always expect a male and a female who spend time together to be hooking up.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely got my fair share of rumors being spread about me. Because in high school, obviously it was very bitchy. Not obviously, but the school I went to was very bitchy. All girls does that. It just happens.
Yeah.
And I was always like a very outgoing girl. So like at the socials, the boys would be standing one side with me and the girls would be standing the other side. I'd just be like, hi, I'm Nicole, chatting to everyone. Like, very annoying, but it's fine. Like, I am where I am now because of it.
Mm.
And so I've always been able to have a friendship with a guy and understand the difference between sexualness and not, like that intimacy and not, and have lived through rumors being spread out. Like my religious education teacher spread a rumor around the school that I was dating like the primary school deputy headmistress's son. And we're still best friends. Shout out Mitch. How's it? We're still homies, but she spread a rumor about me that I was dating him, and I was never dating him.
That's crazy.
And from a very young age, I learned that I'm just gonna chill with my homies, and people can think what they want to think. I've also always had like a best guy friend. I just have, like, throughout my life, I've always just been attracted to not in a intimate sense, in like a drawn to sense.
Yeah. Drawn
to individuals who interest me. And 8 times out of 10, I've been meeting a lot of cool girls, and I've now met a lot of girls who aren't like the girls from my old school, who are actually just awesome, like awesome ladies. And I actually like swore off friendships with women for the longest time, for the last like 2-3 years, because unless I'd known them previously, because I was scared almost. Like I was so used to that bitchiness.
Yeah.
That bitchiness that I never saw out of it. Like that's all I knew. Oh wow. So basically, moral of the story is, I think that the Joburg culture doesn't love it when guys and girls are not hooking up, because it almost seems like unnatural for a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people say that they don't think that guys and girls can have platonic relationships.
I've heard that for a very long time.
And it's sad. Imagine being a girl or being a guy and thinking I can only make friends with my sex.
That's so boring.
Literally.
That's genuinely, like, listen, I love whoever my boys are that are my boys. One love for the one love. But that's boring.
Yeah.
Like, I've learned a lot from the female side of the world. I would actually argue that even outside of like romantic side, I've learned a lot more about like social environments through talking to females. Like my understand, like maybe, but I always say sometimes maybe it's because I was raised by my mother, like, and in a household just with women.
Yes,
like it's been like that. But
so you have that feminine touch.
Yeah.
If that makes like, but it's true. Like I've noticed with you that you're not intimidating.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Which is one of the first things that a guy has is to be intimidating. Do you know what I mean? Like it can very often be the first impression for somebody to come off, and especially guys, and maybe it's because I'm a woman that I feel this way, but they'll come and they'll be like all this energy and boisterousness, and I'm just like, I just want to chill. Like I just want to chat and chill. Like it's great, be like that, have that. Like if it's you, do it. But there's a sense of like femininity that a lot of guys choose to ignore within themselves, and I've noticed the guys that I get along best with like love that femininity and like adopt it and nurture it because they see the importance of it.
Yeah. Like I think it's one of those things like when I was younger, I started learning that you have to start getting comfortable with yourself before you start going out to other people. And I'm not like done with that. Like it's an everlasting thing because changes happen and your perspective on yourself will change. But it started happening, I can remember the day exactly. And it even ties into when I started getting closer to girls. I was in grade 6. And it even gets back to me not wanting to speak on things I don't know about. So we got in an argument as a boys group. And then someone was like, you know, people who get very loud and shouty and aggressive and they think they won the argument because they're like, but like I felt deep down I was right. Like in my head I'm like, there's no way I'm wrong just because you're shouting.
Yes.
But obviously we're all young and other people are like, yo, you shout. Yeah. So now it's like, oh, cool. Yeah. And then I can't remember what the argument was about. This is like what? 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago. Guys were old. But then...
Don't say that. We're so young. I genuinely think I'm going to be young until I'm dead.
Oh yeah, forever. Forever young, I'll die rich. That's the saying. Die wealthy, not rich. But then eventually I was like, let me just talk to the girls for like a day or like a few more days and see what happens because these guys are being dickheads to me now. Just because this guy's shouting loud and thinks he's right. And that's another thing, you are right. A lot of guys are just, I'm coming in with voos, a stern face, and then cool. After that, if I want to talk to a girl, I'm only going to talk to a girl I want to pull, and I go into that voos and stuff. And if it works, well...
Some people are attracted to that. Yeah. Some people like crave that that heavy masculine energy.
Yeah.
Which is fair. Yeah. You do you, but I don't know. I think it's really beautiful and it gives me goosebumps to think that guys choose to like get in touch with their femininity, because women have to get in touch with their masculinity to get shit done, and not saying that femininity doesn't get shit done, but like you always have to get angry to get shit done. But I even not always, but a lot of times. Sorry to cut you off, but you have to like get a bit vuss to get the customer service person to take you seriously.
Facts.
You have to raise your voice to get the McDonald's guy to come on time or whatever. You know, like you have to assert that like dominance, which is often associated with masculinity, and for me it is associated with masculinity to exist. Yeah.
I'm also saying like the reason I'm also comfortable with the feminine side and so forth is there's this weird perception that masculinity and femininity are only associated with male and female, like respectively.
Yeah.
Which is like this one thing I don't like. This is why I read so many things from history, because I'm trying to find the root of these things so that I can understand.
Why are people so confused? Yeah, find out.
This boggles me because I can have a conversation with someone and I can see where, like, I can directly see why you think something.
Yeah, what they've heard to make them believe that. Yeah.
But I can't start thinking where it came from sometimes because it's very muddy. Because even, I'm sorry people, but I just had to put some game onto you. The face of Christ changed many times because of art and because of who funded the papacy.
Yes.
So I don't know if I told you one time I was going to do a podcast on like rich families and about the Medici family who were so rich. So the Medici family are one of the richest families in Italy or Rome at one point. They owned the banks at one point and they were so rich that the Pope had to come to them. So that was one of the few times in history that the power was in a family that wasn't the government and so forth. And their family was so strategic that like they had people in office, then they had people in the banks, then they had people there. And by doing that and doing all the strategic stuff, they basically controlled Rome without being
in control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the real part. Like how people talk about the 0.1% of elites that no one knows their names, that you don't know how they pay like $1 in tax.
Silent.
And because they control the things that we don't even know.
Behind the scenes.
But back to the thing, not to get too into that.
I love that I can learn so much and
then come back.
Yes.
Oh no. Okay. But the reason I say that is because like I understand that over time, like femininity and marketing has been shown as getting your nails done, doing this, it's a woman, this and this and this. But then I'll look and I'll say, if a female is able to do this that is masculine, why is it supposed to be only a men's thing? Like I literally had that thought one day, and it's not like I'm like, ooh, I'm Einstein, the apple dropped on my head, I found the answer. No, it's just like this doesn't make sense to me that you can be so. I even thought about it with like this new femboys trend.
Yes, yeah.
Which is not new. It's just that now Harry Styles has been put in a position that it's meant to look like, it's this
now
trend.
It's trendy. It's not new, it's trendy.
It's trendy. And then what's going to happen afterwards, all the people who've been doing this before are going to look outdated and thrown to the side because it's not trendy anymore.
Just live your life. Don't care about the trends, but that's another topic.
But I was looking at that and I was like, how can someone be outraged because someone wants to wear a dress? Let's think about it. He can walk in a room, like literally Harry Styles has proven over decades, almost a decade at this point actually, that no matter where he goes, he's known.
And he's going to look good.
And women still want him.
Facts.
It doesn't matter if he's wearing a dress
or
if he's wearing a suit.
Because he's doing it confidently.
Exactly.
He's doing it with like pride.
He knows what he wants to do.
Yeah.
It could be a marketing plot. We could be wrong about him. There's other evidence over time.
Yeah.
RuPaul's Drag Race shows us there's some guys who go on to the Drag Race. They are in committed relationships at home. They have a wife and kids. And
they just love doing drag.
They just think that this looks amazing. This is an expression of self.
And it makes them happy to express themselves like this.
So the point I'm trying to get with all of that is that I really do like and it's one of the things, that's why I'm more observant of Johannesburg culture than actually partaking in it at times. Because there was a point where I have a friend that you know of. I'm not going to say her name because shout out to her. But we've been friends since I was like at my first school. So I don't know how many times the guy who wanted her comes to me and is like, boy, are you two together? And I'm like, first of all, I'm not your boy. Let's start there. I don't know you from Tom.
Start from the beginning.
I don't know you from Tom, Dick, Harry, or Mr. Pope.
Mr. Bean,
yeah. Mr. Bean also. I don't know you from anyone. We're not boys. Secondly, no, we're just homies.
Yeah.
So you never tried. Well, I was like, boy, I answered your question, and no. Cool. And we've been friends basically for what now?
Forever, yeah. For
it's 11. This is 12 years now at this point.
It's amazing.
So imagine how many times
you've been confronted asking if you're interested in her.
Especially because we started Jolene together back in the day. So
people saw you out together, basically.
And it keeps happening. It used to keep happening. Now I think people just like... It's also helped me because it can blur the lines a bit. So that there are ones that like... I don't mean it in a possession wise, but there are girls that they might see on my story and stuff. Yeah. And I could be in a romantic relationship with them. Yeah. Or it could just be a girl.
Yes. I also enjoy the fact of having the opposite sex as friends for that. Because I don't like people knowing who I'm with.
Exactly.
Because it's
messy.
It's messy, and also I think I've just had bad experiences with high school and dating somebody and then them chatting to my friends, and then after we break up them hooking up with my friends, and it's just like a circle of too much everything in one place.
Yeah.
Like all of the emotions, like my best friend and now my ex-boyfriend, and it's just I'd rather just exist and let the person that I'm with exist, and when we connect.
Yeah, and people who see it.
Exactly. And the people who know about it and hear about it deserve to. Or they ask.
Sometimes you just have to ask. I'll give you an answer.
Literally, like I'm such an open book if I'm asked the right questions.
Yeah, I don't just
tell you my life. I will if you ask me the right questions.
And if you give the right energy.
Yes, 100%, Jano. If somebody comes to you and is like, tell me why you don't think da-da-da, it's like, please.
Check yourself at the door.
Yeah.
So, here's the last thing about friendship, and then we'll go on to a topic if you have one, or we'll get into another topic I have. So, have you ever had a situation where you had a friend who maybe had a different set of morals than yours, or they did something that just went against like
what I believe?
Yeah, something that was really strong for you, or something along those lines? Have you had situations like that?
Yeah, definitely. And
how have you had to handle that? How's that felt for you and so forth?
It's always confusing because especially if I'm like closely associated with the person and we go out and they do something that's like, man, what are you doing? This is a bit weird. I usually just speak to them about it. Say what's happened, especially if they're a good friend. If they're a good friend and I have that basis with them and that love and respect for them that all relationships should have, platonic or romantic. And then they explain to me why they believe that that's not a bad thing, or they believe that it's the way that they need to exist, then, and it makes sense for them and enough for me, then it's fine. Like then it's great that we have different like views and moral views. It can be a bit tricky because morals are like deeply ingrained, but I just chat to them, and if I learn that their morals are so different to me through that conversation, I usually start separating myself, because I find it very difficult to like exist to the best of my ability if I'm being held back by people who believe that I'm not doing my own thing. It does like people that are gonna try pull me back because what they believe, instead of trying to push me forward because they want me to believe in whatever I want to believe.
Makes a lot of sense. I think that's very mature, because I think a lot of people either just let it happen and then continue, which can get very toxic, because I think, well, first of all, it matters what it is in terms of your moral code. Yes, because
like if somebody went and killed someone,
oh, we're done.
Yeah, like that's, I would report you. I would take you to the police station myself. No, I wouldn't get close.
It's not my business, because now I'm getting interrogated. Now it's like,
Yeah, no, fair. But obviously it's not going to be that hectic. But if it's like even cheating. Yeah. People cheating, I'm obviously not for it. Like, I think it's gross. Who are you as a human to cheat on your loved one? It's weird. But I have a friend who is in a relationship with a person and has been for the last like 6 or 7 years, and he's very ill. He's basically dying. And she is with him, but he doesn't live here, so she goes to Cape Town to see him every now and then. And when she's here, she just lives. And not to say that she hooks up with people every weekend and she's trying to fuck and all this stuff, no. Like, if something comes her way and she's really vibing, maybe she'll do something. But she won't. But she also won't tell the guy about it. The guy that she's seeing. Yeah. Which is something that like obviously genuinely bothers me. But through many conversations that I've had to her about it and trying to understand, she's just in a place where she loves this person that's dying, but she's also young. So she's making sacrifices against her moral code. To exist happily. I think it's very difficult for her, and I couldn't imagine being in her position. But she's just existing, and sometimes her morals get a bit wavy, but it's not because she's a bad person. I know that she's an amazing human. Like, I love her so much, but she cheats on her boyfriend.
Yes.
You know, I know
exactly what you're saying.
It's also a very difficult situation because he's not well.
Yeah, it's a very... It tests everything about you at that moment in time.
Exactly, but it's like the moral thing. Like, what do I do when somebody's morals are different to mine? I chat to them, and I spoke to her, and like I said, through many conversations, I kind of understand where she's coming from, which is enough for me, and it works for her. And she treats me with the most respect and love, and that's all that matters to me at the end of the day. I don't agree with her, and I'm vocal about it, but I'm not gonna treat her with less love because she's had to make tricky decisions. Yeah. Or decisions that waver against my morals.
I think how I look at what you've said and how I've conceptualized it, it's kind of like if you're on the road. Let's say there's 2 roads to get to Monte Casino from where we are. One road might have 65 potholes. I'm still going to get to Monte Casino. Yeah. I just have to go through the pothole, this and this and this.
Might break a tire.
Listen, might pop the whole thing gone. Wheel inside a shop. But
you'll get there.
Yeah, you'll get there. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm very weird on it also, and not the specific instance because I don't know the people.
Yeah.
I mean more so like against my moral codes. I have certain ones where I'm very, this is like how I live my life, this is what I believe. Like I don't like, I know there's a difference like in terms of, okay, I know certain guys use the word bitch and stuff very loosely, and I sometimes give them the benefit of like, this
it's
is
used
like
in all the rap songs.
Yeah, this is a lot of like you've just had a lot of
indoctrination.
Yeah, indoctrination that's just gone on that like it's beyond me to say to you, bro. Like, but then there's certain times where I can hear how you're saying she's a bitch, and I'm like, yo, dog, like
just
that
think,
makes me uncomfortable.
Do you truly understand what you're saying? Like, do you truly, do the feelings that you have truly validate the words that you're saying?
But I also realize that some people are not. It then gets to my way of life and the 4 agreements even.
Yeah, a lot
some
of people
are not honest with their words.
So when I started being impeccable with my word, because I only started after you recommended that book to me, which was maybe like end of last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
Middle to end of last year.
Around the time I started Wavehouse, actually.
Shout out. When I started trying to be impeccable with my word, because obviously at first I had to try, I confused a lot of people because I was just brutally honest, because I had to be. I had to be for myself. And as soon as I started realizing that a lot of people say shit they don't mean, and that I don't want to be one of those people, I started noticing when people are saying things they don't mean. It's almost like as soon as you're honest and pure with yourself, you can see when people aren't being honest and pure with themselves. And that's what spirituality is, I think. It
creates a tension that's like, I kind of saw it like this. When I first read those words, be impeccable with your word, and what's it, speak without sin, or don't do anything without sin, I looked at it and I said, those 2 chapters are important to me because it allowed me then, I don't have to speak as much now. Like sometimes I don't have anything to say to you, and I was filling conversations in with things so that you didn't feel uncomfortable. Because it goes back to the energy conversation. I can be in a room in silent with people. Genuinely, people don't understand. I have single child syndrome. I can sit in a room and be silent. Some people have it the opposite way where they fidget. They go, like I had a boy who was like that. He if he sits in a room with us and we just chilling, he'll go crazy.
Needs to be constantly stimulated by a bunch of things.
And then they get on their phone and stuff, and I'm like, I hate that. That's where I then get like, okay, dude, like unless you're responding to someone that this is important, I understand. But I got into that with, okay, I'm impeccable with my word now. I just have to say to you, listen, I appreciate what you do, but it's not for me type of thing. It's like, oh, I don't have to go, listen, bro, like, that's cool if you do it with this person, but and then, and then this instance and this, and it's like, no, like, I can simply say to you, listen, I'm not having a good day, my social battery ran out, I don't want to talk to you.
And that is so healthy. It's not just okay, it's healthy to be able to say, oh wait, thank you very much, but I'm going to take time for myself right now.
Oh, it's the best.
And that's something that I'm constantly on the path of learning. I love doing things. Like I love waking up and doing something. I'm not good at lying around and not having something to do and chilling, but I want to give myself the time to do nothing as well. I want to give myself the ability to sit in a room and clear my mind and be still. Because that comes to the law of giving. All right. One of the things, sorry, I'm bringing it back.
Bring it up.
One of the things that he said in that chapter was that he felt like happiness is life-sustaining and life-supporting, and like the goal of life is to make other people happy. Which I understand, yes, the goal, a big goal of life is to give happiness and be happy, but I don't think that happiness is life-sustaining. I don't think that happiness is life-supporting. I think contentness, like stillness, is what a lot of people confuse with like a goal. I think people always say, like, I want to be happy. That's my goal. I want to be happy. But I don't agree with that, because if you're only happy, if you're just happy, when will you give yourself the ability to feel sad? And how will you ever feel happy without feeling sad?
Yeah. It's like that question of like, would we be able to experience happiness if we were always happy?
No.
Like, would that dream of a utopia where there's no such thing as war and all of this stuff, which is bad stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we shouldn't aim to eradicate all the bad things that are happening. But isn't it that ebb and flow of humanity that kind of allows us...
That yin and yang.
Yeah. And a lot of people, like, even if you get onto so back to Midnight Gospel, hey, you guys are going to... Listen, we relate everything to everything.
This is the way that we chat. Enjoy.
So... The reason I wanted to read the Mindspace book, which was on Midnight Gospel, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I understand everything that's been said here. Well, I understand.
In your ability of understanding. Yes. But
my comprehension of everything is not very high, and I want to be able to relate it to other things.
Okay.
So I was like, let me look at the root of what this is all about.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you look at the root of it, you can see how someone adapted it.
Yes.
That's the best way to...
Yeah.
Because then I wouldn't be able to have a good conversation with you about something if you didn't
understand the root.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. We've never spoken about how you do that before, and I think that it's important, and it's very interesting how instead of just understanding the topic, you want to understand the root. Yeah, that's very cool. I dig that. But
the only reason it is because like I never want to show someone who, like, because everything in a friendship a friendship is based on giving and taking. Yeah. People have always got that confused of, does that mean you always have to give them like something? Like, no.
You can give them your energy, like your time.
Sharing, I'm a person who I love to share certain things with people, whether it be, I thought this movie is really cool. I don't really watch movies, but if you watch this movie, I think it's really cool.
But you do it very personalized. Yeah. Like if you think this individual will enjoy this, you'll recommend it to them.
So I do a lot of research on that thing before, because I never want to give you something and then you read the end of it and
I'm like, Leo, why did you recommend me that?
Yeah, like, didn't you know this guy's out here drop kicking alpacas?
Oh my god.
And then you're like,
alpacas.
Yeah, like, why are you drop kicking alpacas? Like, Leo, why are you supporting this stuff? And then I'm like, I'm sorry, I apologize.
I just didn't fully understand. Yeah. Okay. No, I think it's important, and I think it's going to be something that I try. Leo, you just influence me so much. It's ridiculous. I think it's going to be something that I try to do is, if I'm speaking about something that's like a factual thing, to understand its roots, to understand it more. I think
subjective things, like I do it with art a lot. Yeah. Because sometimes everything is in the interpretation of art. That's the thing. Like these people that are out here telling you that an album is good because of this and this and this, don't listen to them. Sometimes you shouldn't listen to them. Like there are certain parts of music, let's say, that like objectively speaking, someone may play an instrument badly. That's understandable. But maybe there's a reason in this certain minute of this song, he decided, I'm going to mess up the strings. Yeah. And if you listen to the lyric and then you're like, oh, but this person you listen to,
you just have to get all the context.
Yeah, sometimes you have to. That's also why I can't watch certain things when everyone says it's trendy. Because
that's why I didn't watch Midnight Gospel for the longest time. I literally, from when Midnight Gospel came out, I was saying to you, bro, you gotta watch it. And I needed to give it time to like... Yes, to see if it's actually something that's impactful or if it's just trendy.
Yeah, because a lot of what happens is we're all like, okay, I need to be able to be on this conversation.
So that when you're out, you can chat to people about it and you know what's happening.
But really, when I thought about it, and this comes back to everything, you guys are not saying anything about anything.
You're just saying something that you've both watched.
Do you like that moment when he was in the bubble and he was out the bubble?
Oh, I love it.
But then he didn't realize, like, one of my favorite parts about the thing is, did you hear the point where, okay, it's actually a whole stream of things. So he's like, so you see the character he chose. Mm-hmm. It's a monkey. It's an egg monkey.
Yes.
He says, oh, I love this egg monkey. Yeah. And he chooses. And then later when the wallet drops and he finds out what type of magic is. Yes. And then they're talking about, he's like, let's talk about Ganesh, or rather Manush. Mm-hmm. A lot of people haven't seen monkeys, so they don't know how to relate to it. And then I tied in, oh, that's why he chose an egg monkey. Then you know that, and then why they're in that bubble, because of those fish and stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, and those fish are piranhas because they leech on people. That's why he's eating that dead and decomposing body. So it's the bad people and stuff. But if you go say that at Greenhouse or something and you party, they're gonna be like, dude, what are you talking about?
But this is a little bit like controversial and a little bit shitty for me to say. Okay, so. But there's a lot of people that just don't exist on the same level as us.
Oh no, one time for the one time.
It's just. Yes. Like I'm completely speechless thinking about going out and trying to speak to somebody about self-love, let's say, and then being like, yo, no, I like baths. And it's like, and like that's their understanding of self-love, and like that's their understanding of that topic, and that's all they can give you.
Or they hear meditation and they think you want to
go sit, or you want to go sit in the plants and just close your eyes. Like they don't understand the purpose of it. And that's why I was saying. Yes. Sorry,
that's what I was saying to you earlier, not on the podcast. Sorry, you guys are not going to get that conversation. Market research.
Yes.
I had to see really if this stuff that I'm doing is a common wave between people, and all the stuff I was telling you about how I see people posting and stuff is bullshit and me thinking too much, or if it's really like you people are doing something so that you can stay relevant with other people that are trying to stay relevant. It's not a problem. If that's how you want to live your life, that's cool.
Yeah, do your thing.
But you're then going to be with those people for a very long time.
And if not those people, then the next relevant people.
No, but you won't. I mean? Because you then get into this thing. You know why sometimes I'm fine with posting a Joel, then a quote that says we could all be on the side of evil and not good. And then the next post is some random cartoon, and then the next post is a music thing.
Yeah.
You can never tie me to anything. Therefore, I can never be irrelevant. I never tried to be relevant with anything you guys were doing.
Yeah. A big question I have for you for your market research is... Okay. Why do you care? Why do you care if other people are operating on your level or pretending to or trying to? Because I promise you, Leo, I've met a lot of people, and there are very few people that exist on this level that we do. And it makes me angry at myself to like separate people by like mental levels and shit like that. But it truly is just like a level of, I want to say love, but it's not love. It's like a level of empathy and understanding.
Yeah.
And genuineness. Like, no, the word isn't organic, but it's like raw. Like just being your most authentic self, as far as you know what that is, because obviously it's constantly changing, as it should. And I think a lot of people aren't at a level where they know who they are, or even want to know who they are. They're just happy being that person that's at the draw, that person that stands stage right, or whatever, that person that does this to these people and speaks to these people with that's their content in being that.
So to answer your question, I think the reason I do it is because, and it actually relates to the podcast directly. In the podcast, there's 3 main pillars that I always revolve topics around. And if people pick them up,
congrats.
So it's the social implications, the cultural implications, and the spiritual implications.
Yeah.
Spiritually, I separate it because it can be very hard when you have a conversation about certain things to always relate it. And I always think that I have to separate it because I'd rather let the person I'm having on have a chance to speak their truth, so that whoever's listening can understand the perspective.
Yes.
Again, it's about understanding.
And also because spirituality is so personal.
And it's nuanced.
Yes, because your spirituality and your understanding and definition of spirituality is so different to mine. And that's why I love spirituality. It doesn't separate us. It like unites us just in the fact that we want to believe in
something.
And it's ourselves. At the end of the day, that's what spirituality is. It's the belief in yourself, and the universe is you and you're the universe and all that stuff, We can get onto that real hippie shit, but I don't know if it's necessary.
Well, even add to it, because in doing this market research, right? So to relate it to the 3 things, I needed to understand if like in a social context, is this something that like... Is this thing of like, is the stream of consciousness that I have something that relates in different people, just in their own way, or are people on a different wavelength intellectually?
Entirely, yeah. Okay.
So are these people who are trying to be relevant consistently still intelligent in that manner? And not to say people are stupid, but I mean in terms of like, are they
intentionally trying to stay relevant, or is the way that they exist staying relevant?
Have they just gone into a whole, I'm here, I'm having fun, because at times you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to just let life go with life,
just
and experience it. They're only, and that's around the mind space topic also. There are only a few people that have like actually attained the level of a guru who has reached the level of stillness where they can take every moment and understand
where
exactly.
They float.
Literally. Where everything around them is moving slowly because they've just taken it in. And the other reason, honestly, was because whenever I go back onto social media, I do get a bit involved at times, and is exactly what it was created for. But I look at it and I say, do you really care about this stuff? Like, the important things that are going on, do you care about what you're posting? Or are you just in a moment right now that in 2 weeks you're going to care about the next thing that seems important? And then another 2 weeks, the next thing is important. Because if we're just going to do that, we're never going to solve these issues. 100%. The reason some charities never exist is not because they're not doing a good cause. It's one, because they don't act with a certain level of business, which is unfortunate, because they're too empathetic and too ethical. I'm sorry. Sometimes,
no, but it's true.
And then the second reason is because they allow themselves to become a trend. And once you're a trend, you're going to get thrown out in a few weeks. Feminism was a trend for a long time. Then feminazis came in. Then it gave the wrong impression of what a feminist is. So if you ask me today if I'm a feminist, I can't answer you straightforward because I don't know what your understanding of that word is. I can tell you the definition I know, which is the fight for equality. But another female who is a feminist, who's been fighting this thing and gone on speeches
believes
and stuff,
believes that all men are trash,
and believes that it is the uplifting of women to be ahead of men. Maybe we are now fighting something. But
it's an entirely different cause now. It's not even feminism anymore. It's an entirely different cause.
But at that one point,
the word has been trendized. Is that a word?
It became a trend. Hey, it's been trendized ever since it got trendized. And that's the thing. I'm going to say something and I don't care. People have to listen to exactly what I'm saying and understand it. You see, with the Black Lives Matter movement, the one thing I have a problem with is it has become such a big trend, and it got to a point where I don't think they could handle what happened because it happened too quick for them. I'm not saying that you can go to a police officer and say, wait, stop the killing. We're trying to sort out things here first. No, I understand how fucked up this thing is. What I'm saying is, the minute it became, make your Instagram profile black, put a hashtag BLM, some people who didn't care were just doing that so that they didn't look
everybody
like racist.
else. Do you want to know how many racist people I saw post a black square? And just because of one racist person that I saw post a black square, I didn't post a black square. Because I was like, now it's fake.
Because also, and then it gets to, now it goes into business. Now, I'm big on the side of you choose where you want your accountability.
Okay.
If you're going to be ethical with every single business, you're not going to buy a lot of things. Even some of the things you think are ethically tested, somewhere along the lines they do dumping. Now you're in this hole of, now they do dumping. You're going to start living off your own, and I know you can't do it in a city. No one can live off their own because you don't have a garden probably. And even if you do, you still can't live off everything you own because you're getting electricity from Eskom. Sorry. And you can't afford solar panels, and then we're going to get into a discussion of how that was made. Now we're in a whole rut of where does your morality stop?
Yes.
But the BLM thing got to a point where it got into business. Now, I don't know if you've watched, a lot of sports are doing this thing now where they take a kneel down because of Colin Kaepernick.
Yes, because he got so much cuck for doing it.
He wasn't fighting BLM. They tied him and BLM to the same thing. His fight, yes, it was about what BLM are also fighting.
Yes, but it wasn't wasn't the BLM movement.
Now we have a thing of, okay, everyone's kneeling. We've been kneeling for how many months now? But your business is still hiring white people only, white men. Okay, wait,
only
this doesn't
white
make
men
sense.
in the board. They're not changing up the board. They're keeping the top structure exactly the same.
Yep.
While saying, yes, we love all the people.
Yes.
But they're not doing anything to change it.
And this is where I got fed up. So I like football. I love football. But I don't mind if there's politics in sports. I honestly think politics isn't everything. Everything is politics.
Okay.
People decided to separate politics and everything. And that's just how you want to live your life. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because I can understand how depressed you can get from looking out and seeing two people shouting in parliament and this is supposed to be their country. Yeah. Especially if you didn't know the one person. Now you're like, I thought I vote, head so. Now you're angry. Cool. Yeah. So they did the kneeling thing. But I thought in my head also, as a black person, why am I kneeling? Do I need to prove as a black person that Black Lives Matter? You don't have to. It's fine. But do I ever have to go to another black person and say, "Hey, dude, you matter"? I understand the support I have to show.
Just imagine that.
Hey, dog.
I just want you to know that you matter and I matter.
The root of this whole thing is, if you just simplify everything, the root of this whole thing is the people who are killing black people are looking at color. They're not looking at where you're from or whatever it is. Like, we all fight. There's intercultural fighting. Like white people have their own fights that I don't know. They fight in their own thing. Black people have their own fights in their own thing. Indian people have their own fights. Everyone has their own fights in their own culture. Yeah. That's besides the point. I don't need to show my other black boys, hey dog, I'm taking a kneel. Like,
it should be especially the white people.
And I'm not saying that I don't support BLM because I understand the movement.
Of course not.
And I like at that time I was so broke. I don't think people understand. And my €2 donation was gonna do, something.
Yeah.
But I genuinely did feel very distressed at the time of the George Floyd killing because I was like, why is this video circulating?
Yeah, that video should never been put up on social media.
The level of desensitization that has happened over the past few years.
But at the same time, I think it was almost necessary that video was put up so that a whole bunch of people that were ignorant could see how shitty and bad shit is getting. Just how hectic stuff's getting and how important it is for white people and other races to step in and fucking not just sit here and say, shit, whoa, that's fucked up. But you know where
it gets bad? And this is also in my market research. What happens with the next video? Do I share it? What happens with the next one? What happens with the next one? Because I cared here.
Yeah.
But now I have to now some people are trying to keep up with this facade. Now they're sitting in a pit of every day they're living in this thing of like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Yes, it's happening. It's happened since we got into this civilization of since the slave trade happened, things have been happening. Since the
slave trade happened,
since Jan van Riebeeck said
happening.
I'm jumping out, let's go. Since Jan van Riebeeck said, hey,
things have been happening.
Since they said we're tired with spices, we're going inland. And I'm not saying and that's why there's certain people I look at and I've had conversations with, and I'm like, I know you actually care and you know that you're doing this because you care. And I know to a certain extent that, and obviously this part I haven't said, you're going to burn out and it's going to hurt you, that you can't keep doing this to yourself. You can't keep posting this stuff because it's making you depressed now. Now you're thinking, if my black friend walks out, he might get shot. When
because you're seeing all of this information and like heightened, obviously it's heightened emotions as well, like heightened emotions posts.
Yeah.
And as a viewer of the social media, you never know the actual intent of the person posting it.
Yeah.
You just know that they're good with their words, or that they think that they know what they're writing.
And that's why I had to do market research.
Fair. Because I understand. I do understand.
I always like, and this will move to the final conversation. It's a great transition, actually. What has it been like in terms of just being friends with people from different cultures, in terms of their home cultures more so? Because we live in a South Africa that, listen, we have a lot of different cultural backgrounds and so forth. And obviously, there is a bit more of there is a shared culture that we have to explain, the Johannesburg culture more so.
And South Africanness.
Yeah, which we promote as much as we can.
Well.
We see how far it gets us.
I promote it when I'm overseas, but when I'm here, I'm like, I hate this.
You see,
because I'm sad being here.
But you see, it kind of gets to my thing of like, do I have to go to a black person and say, bro, I'm fucking depressed the fact that people overseas are being shot? And then here in this country, like, you see, it makes more sense for me to say like, yeah, gender-based violence is fucked up. Because I know if one of my female friends, something happens to her, if she goes to the police station alone, they might not help her. They might
sexually harass her again.
You see? Whereas, like, if something happens, like, it's very, that's why I always get into the thing of like, sometimes I think we do also get very involved in what happens outside of our doors, which you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. But sometimes we haven't even like conceptualized or started to brainstorm and think tank how we can all come together and kind of do shit here.
Yeah.
We put all the relevance, like, dude, I must now think, then US, this is happening, then here in Thailand, this is happening, then Cambodia.
Instead of just focusing on ourselves.
Yeah, like.
But also we kind of have to be focused on other places because of trade and.
And it helps us fix our things here. I'm not saying we shouldn't.
Okay.
I'm also saying there hasn't been a moment, like, when Uyinene passed away, I think there was like a click in a lot of people's heads that, okay, in our generation, something is cracking.
Yeah.
Like something bad is cracking.
Yeah.
And then people were more aware of things going on. Whereas, and the police thing, I think there's a lot of like, it's a lot more, they're very retaliatory here in this country. Like they don't know how to like stop things?
Lack of training.
Oh yeah.
I think I heard that this might be wrong, so don't quote me, but I think that to become a police officer in South Africa, you need like 3 to 6 months training. And
you have to run.
And you can hold a gun with 3 to 6 months training. Your hands hold so many people's lives. Yeah. It makes me so angry.
So to get back
let me just to become a hairdresser is a longer process in South Africa than
Isn't it like a year and a half?
Yeah. At least you have to go to a proper school, you have to be trained, and that's to hold scissors.
Yeah, and you do it on a fake mannequin.
Imagine
my cousin had a hair salon for.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Shout out to my cousin. Shout out Abigail. So to get back to the question.
Sorry, I just had to
How have you found the mix of all of these different cultures and your friendships and so forth? Have you considered it? Let's ask that first.
Yes, I have. I have. And I'm a person who loves learning. Mm-hmm. It's just the person I am. So I ask a lot of questions. And I was also very, I say fortunate, but it was my choice. I did Zulu in high school, so I learned a lot about African culture, especially Zulu culture, through there.
Shout out my Zulu boys. As a Zulu boy, shout out my Zulu boys.
Through there, because we weren't just learning the language.
Yeah.
That would have been terrible to just learn the language. Like, I didn't choose Zulu to learn the language Zulu. I learned Zulu to learn the culture, and I did. Obviously not entirely. I don't think I'll ever be able to fully know the culture because I'm not in it, you know. But there haven't been many situations where culture has been like, there haven't been any situations where culture has been a deterrent or like that's a bit not okay, like let me it's always been like okay, this is what you do, this is the way you like to do it, awesome, let me understand why you want to do it. And as long as the person can explain to me why they do that and for whatever reason or belief that they have, then I think it's awesome. Then do it, live your life, like as long as it's not harming somebody else or like harming somebody else or being nasty to somebody else. It's I'm all for learning and embracing culture. Because I've actually been thinking about it for a long time. I don't really have a culture. I'm not like cultured. I'm cultured. Like I love arts but I don't have a culture. Because what culture do white people have?
Well,
stealing other people's cultures.
I mean, listen, there's a conversation.
But it's to a certain extent that's very, very accurate.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the fashion influences and like all of my influences, I've actively tried to find the source of, and understand that like my love for fabric is because of seshwe and the beautiful like African fabrics, and no, when I speak about it, I'm gonna say it's an African fabric and not to just pretend it's my fabric that I found, you know. Like that's ridiculous. And yeah, so I don't know if that answered your question.
I mean, it does.
Okay.
It does. Yeah, you just made me think of something. Yeah, I think it's kind of like this, like I had this conversation when I was still in high school with a teacher. And I was like, white people, like we were arguing about whether white people have a culture, and like obviously, Boer people have, you know, Boer culture. That's their own like. It's a very weird thing to pinpoint, but there is a culture in how they live their life.
What is that culture? Like I understand what you're saying. There's definitely a way that Boers live their lives, but I see culture as like something beautiful that's like enriching and like I don't know how to explain it, but like something that your people bring to you because they have it. And
but don't you
beautiful.
Think that in turn like the Boer people would dissipate if there was no culture? Because that's the only thing that ties people to still being exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, if we had to go into Pretoria. Deep into Pretoria.
Yes.
There are people that live off a different frequency.
Yeah, 100%, and I get what you mean. I just think my definition of culture is not that.
I can understand how you can look at like the Zulu culture and see maybe someone who's from like deep in KZN and see how they're wearing like traditional garb, maybe, or like they're having umqombothi and they're sharing it when it's like something's happening and so forth.
Yes.
But even in that, I'd say like, I don't know, Biltong is a Boer thing, isn't it?
It's a South African thing. See, that's also like, is Boer South African?
Yes, they are technically. I know their origins are not, but because of how it's one of those weird things. So it's like the settlers of different places. Now they've naturalized over hundreds of years now at this point. So it's like you can't say they can't go to Holland and live the same way a Hollander is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they can't like actually assimilate in their culture because it's not theirs.
Okay.
The things that they changed are not the same anymore. Even the roots of that thing, it's like if I leave South Africa for 10 years and speak to someone who's Zulu and see the Zulu culture, it's probably changed a bit.
Yeah.
But I can probably still assimilate. With 10 years is not enough. If I have kids that are born in a different country and
they
I bring
had to come,
them,
it would be difficult for them
because
to
they wouldn't understand where it started. It changed from where it started. I saw
for them where it started is yes. Okay.
That's why a lot of kids who like when people go overseas and have kids and then bring them back, the kids don't know how to stay here, so then they go back.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, even if the kid the parents pass away and everything, and they feel tied to it, but then they go back. And there's always like, there was a study I remember reading where the thing was like they get like a very big culture shock from it because they don't know whether
from moving back.
No, from coming
being here. Okay.
Because they don't know how to be tied to it. They know that their heritage is here.
Okay.
But they don't know, like sometimes it's like a very like long process of actually assimilating again. Because it's like my family is from here, this and this and this and this. But I wasn't growing up in this culture, so I didn't see the change. I'm coming where I finished. Like I'm grown maybe. I'm maybe like in my 20s or something. And now I'm trying to understand things. Because remember, the weird thing about us is like, as intelligent as we think we are as humans, we start to hit points in our life where like the ability to understand things, certain concepts and certain like ways of living just becomes harder.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't do it.
Yeah, it just takes a lot more effort.
Like even I'll say like, I study in Spain. I don't speak Spanish well. I barely speak Spanish. And it gets worse when I come here, obviously, because who's speaking Spanish?
Because you're not practicing.
Yeah. But like when I go there, like I understand why they take like where they're calmer in a day. Like I understand why they take 2 hours off after they eat lunch to just chill and stuff. If I just throw you there maybe like quickly without knowing anything, you can look and be like, wait, why can't I go shopping at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Like hold on, like this doesn't make sense to me. There's these small things that like you can get over. Even just the fact like Barcelona and Madrid are 2 different places. They like intentionally grew differently from each other. So I understand what you're saying. It's very hard to say like what is white culture in this country. And maybe that is a podcast. I'll have a Borki and a young English.
I was thinking if I know any Borkis that would wanna. I don't know if you.
I'll have to think
we'll do some
market
research.
Yeah, we'll do market research.
Pretoria, send out surveys.
Yeah.
You have to fill in the survey to see if you're a cool oak or not, because
it could be a bit.
It could be a difficult
situation to
podcast.
I think so. I think eventually I'll get to those difficult podcasts one day.
I think it's important. I think it's important to have those chats and for other people to see that those chats are possible to be had.
Yeah.
Because that's how shit gets sorted out, through conversation. And because conversation leads to action.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you'd like to speak about?
I'm curious to know what your definition of soulmates is.
Soulmates. That's interesting. So it's actually quite interesting you bring that up, because a few weeks ago I was reading something about it. Not like something like a whole book. It was just a passage. And what they were saying was like you can have like friends who are soulmates and you're meant to meet them in your life, and it's just an intertwined bond, and then you obviously have the soulmate. But with time passing, it can change. Yeah. Because your soul has developed into a different part of your life, and
grows and
this is the journey, and it's kind of like taking the N1 and now you're taking the left, you're going to Bloemfontein. I always make that joke that if you had a pass roads in your life, you either go to Bloemfontein or Durban. You have to make that decision very quickly, otherwise it's a whole different holiday you're about to have.
100%.
There's one bar in Bloemfontein for everyone to go to. Durban, it's a good time. Shout out to all my Bloem babies, but y'all know why you leave Bloemfontein and come to Joburg. I think soulmates are people that, no matter the circumstances, you guys can work things out, and there's just a bond that is like, it's tied by a soul. It's tied by connections that are spiritual, like a level that is love, respect, reciprocity. It's a bunch of things that, like, even the thing you're saying of, like, it can be things of, like, you understand each other's social cues instantly, and it's a thing where you're prepared to build.
Yeah.
A lot of it is you're prepared to build.
Yeah.
You understand the task at hand.
Conflict is almost like welcome.
Yeah.
But it's positive conflict.
Yeah.
Even though the conflict itself may be negative, the situation after the conflict should always be positive.
Growth through arguments, growth through breaking down the barriers that may have existed.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of learning from the other person, from your shortcomings, and it's even a thing of, like the person can be younger than you but can still mentor you in certain things.
100%.
The person can
100%.
be older than you and you can still teach them new things. It's a whole lot of the whole soulmates thing. I think it is a very spiritual, altruistic thing. Like, it isn't just a, hey buddy, you my soulmate. It's a very, on a certain level, we see, like, eye to eye, third eye to third eye, and our conversations, even in silence, are very strong.
Yes.
And I think you can even have it with someone who's of a different spiritual understanding.
Yes.
But more so because of that.
Yes, because as long as they believe, whatever they believe in their capacity that you love them and respect them, and you know in whatever your capacity that you love and respect them, that love and respect and that bond, obviously it can go away and it can change. But if it's, for me at least, if it's soulmates, that bond will never die.
Yeah. You can call this person in 5 years
and just be like, how's it? And it'll be the same chat. Yeah.
The only thing you guys need to do is, okay, let's catch up.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now,
same chat, same level. Yeah.
And this is how I actually illustrate it, because I like to do examples that are, it's kind of like two people take in a car.
Okay.
Right? We know we're going in the same direction. We don't know if we have to get off at certain parts. We're both, Google Maps is fighting, but we know we're going in the same direction. And we both just accept the fact that, okay, if it's at the end of the road that we have to split up and you go into the beach and I'm going to the mountains,
yes, because we
fine.
both have our own paths.
Yeah. I know where I need to go, and I'm so happy that you also know where you need to go.
Yes. I'm so happy that you know where you need to go, and you're so happy that I know where I need to go.
And it's that mutual respect for, you like the beach more than you like the mountain. I'm actually happy that you know what you like.
Yes.
Tell me why you like the beach.
Enjoy the mountain while you enjoy the beach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my definition. What's your definition?
I think soulmates are people that you meet that are just supposed to be in your life.
That's a great little simple thing.
Sometimes
it is that simple.
Just supposed to be, for whatever reason. But it's also everything that you've just said.
Shout out to me also.
For whatever reason, this person has been put into your life to challenge, to help, to love, to respect you, and you can either run away from it and not like fall into the this is such hippie shit, but like fall into the way the universe has presented your options, or you can fight it, which is something that you've spoken to me about, fighting fate. Yeah. Which confuses the shit out of me, because like I love the idea of fate, and I feel like my fate I've manifested so hard that I already know what's going to happen to a certain extent with certain things. Like I know my hotel's going to happen. I know
the Empire's coming.
It's already happened. I just need to get there.
Yeah, no, we just need to secure funds, and the other things, the physical stuff needs to happen.
Exactly.
But it's happened.
It's already happened. Like I genuinely feel so positively about that. It's already happened.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Harwood International Empire coming soon. Watch when we have events at Harwood International.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope.
It's gonna be great. It's
Europe somewhere.
Listen, it'll be everywhere.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's an international empire.
You're right. I always forget. Because I'm so focused on having a hotel.
Yeah, you just got the specific one.
Yes. And every time I chat to you, like, what are you talking about? There's gonna be like 7.
Yeah, no, it has to be one in every continent. Like,
what are you talking about, Nicole? Dream bigger. And I'm like, yes, thank you.
Like, how am I supposed to fly to London and then there's none there, and I'm like, I have to stay at the Hilton. But the Hilton, if you want to sponsor this podcast,
that would be great.
That only counts if you have either a black person or a woman in your board of directors.
Already.
Yeah, already.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what you'll get, the cheaper rates. But if you don't, you can pay I'll tell you the other rates. Yeah. But there's a discount for people who have women and black people within, people of color, sorry. All people. Anyway, back to the conversation at hand. So yeah, manifesting. Yeah. Well, okay, can I just say about the fighting faith thing?
Yeah.
I think we almost have the same thing, but mine's a bit different about it. I know what I want in the future. Mm-hmm. But I almost I don't want to leave it in fate's hands.
Because you don't think that fate will,
it's the same thing of you don't know what the universe will give you with it.
So you don't want to put it in fate's hands because you want to work for it yourself.
And I want to make sure I can mold it as much as possible into what I want.
Okay.
I can compromise.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm prepared. I would rather compromise after I have tried my best to get what I want to do.
Okay.
I also believe,
I get what you mean.
And to close it, I also believe that as much as I don't speak about, I do think that there's many different gods. Honest to God, honest to all the gods, because I don't think that one person can answer everything. Even though that all writings will say that this is the creator, and in different places there's different things. So just find out about different cultures, guys. You'll find out that different countries, different cultures, different religions think differently about gods. Mm-hmm. That's also from reading Sapiens. That's also from reading things that but more so I do believe that because we're all embodiment of God, because God created us, right, in some way. And I know that's a very Christian thing I'm saying.
Yes, yeah.
And I do take things from Christianity because I don't think everything in the book is wrong. I just think, we're not going to get, that's not the podcast.
Yeah, don't get into it this time.
Because of that, I think my free will should allow me to then fold fate as much as I can. It sounded
what do you see fate as though?
Fate is the result of the decisions before it.
You don't think fate is the result of the decisions you make, and therefore your fate is ever changing?
Yes, but you see, I do think, okay, I can put it like this. If I never put this podcast out right now, right, mm-hmm. and I never release another podcast, fate is going to be decided in that very moment I say I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, the fate of the future of your podcast.
I could have met someone who could have said, oh, wait, I need someone to host my podcast for Apple. Apple, if you need someone to host your podcast.
Shout out.
I want a big bag.
Want a big bag.
And Spotify, pay your artists properly, you dirty muscats. Anyway, that's a conversation for a whole other time. Ethical business practice. Whoa! But it's more so, you see how nuanced the word fate is for me. It's almost like, if I make a decision right now not to go out to a certain place, I'll never meet someone. That night we met at Jolly's. We don't meet at Jolly's. There's certain things about how I think about my spirituality that don't happen.
Okay.
But fate is still that I may have I don't know what fate would say to me, but I would still have a perspective on spirituality. Mm-hmm. It just may not be as developed as I have it now.
Yeah.
Right? And since I think like that, I have to always go, okay, cool. I'm going to keep bending it in a way that I can get the most reward out of it. I'll take all of the other results of it, and I'm prepared to compromise on what my goal is or what my dream is.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let fate just give me whatever the universe plus my decision plus what other people are doing, because
you want it to be more than that.
I want it to be as close to what I have decided as possible in my head, as close to my manifestation as possible.
And you don't think that your fate would be what you choose for yourself?
If I didn't try and bend it.
I feel like we're saying the same thing.
We are, but my nuance is more so. We probably are. I think what I'm trying to say is more so. At every juncture, I'm trying my hardest to do the fullest of the manifestation of what I want.
Yes.
Right? At the fullest. If I'm doing a podcast and if I'm trying to make Wavehouse work,
you're gonna work really hard to make sure it happens.
If I can't do something in a certain way. Okay, fine.
You'll find out the next best way to do it.
This is how I have to do it.
Yes.
I'm not going to do it half-heartedly in the way I wanted to do it. And then now I've published this thing and then people see what I wanted to do, but they can't really see the direction. It's kind of then I'm going on the path, but now I have a different meeting with someone who sees it as I see what you're trying, but your proof of concept didn't work, so I can't let you do this. Yeah. Or I see what you're trying, this and this and this.
Yeah. Not I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing. I see, oh, you did this and you did this. Oh, you didn't do this. And it's we probably are saying the same thing.
See, I think the thing that we're saying different is your fate, your definition of fate is almost like something that you must challenge and oppose.
Yeah.
Whereas my but it's still something that happens based on your actions and decisions and stuff like that. Whereas my definition of fate is because of my decisions and actions, this will happen. And it's something like that I just fall into. My fate is something that I just fall into because it's something that I've chosen for myself. And I understand that you want to challenge it because you constantly want to stay conscious or not just fall into something. But it's just different, the way that we approach it.
Yeah. You know how I also look at it? It's kind of like this. And I made this example when I did my fate free will thing. You see with the migrant crisis that happened, that it was always happening, right? You know, you're like, at some point, I think they look at themselves and they say, I'm going to die. Whether it's from hunger or it's from trying to get my child overseas into a country that speaks the same language, so at least this person might be able to, I can use all my life savings to get us there, but we know that death is one of the things that's guaranteed here. That's fate. That's the only thing. Everyone on this earth can look around each other and say, this body you're in right now is going to decompose one day.
Facts.
That's it. Unless Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos come together and say,
put the Neuralink in,
let's kill death. Right. And then now it's Jurassic Park with humans.
That would be a very scary world, hey?
Listen, I embrace the fact that death is going to happen. That's why I have so much fun.
But I also think that's a very big part of spirituality, is fully understanding that you could die any second and being not
within the moment,
present, but also grateful.
Yeah.
Grateful that you're here because you understand how fleeting it can be.
Yeah.
I think that's a very big part of. I think gratefulness is a very big part of spirituality.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
You can't move forward without without conceptualizing the situation you're in now, you can't move forward.
Yeah.
Which is why that example kind of goes, they know they're going to die. Whether it's hunger, or it could be from taking this boat there, or it could be from, like, I'll die once I get into the country because of some... I know that, like, okay, I have to take a chance here. Yeah. I have to then just bend fate as much as possible to put death 15 days ahead, maybe, if it is that.
Okay, I understand. Like
I'm not in that kind of a situation.
Yes, but I understand your perspective of death based off that example. It's like, I'm just happy going with the current and you want to fight against it, which is best for both of us.
But I also think it's very healthy that even we can be friends because of that.
Yes.
It kind of like, it balances itself out because...
Yin and yang, my bro.
Listen. And also, like, one of the things is I do have my moments where I'm just like, okay, I'm in the current, I'm in a phase.
Okay.
Like, currently, I think I'm like in the phase right now.
Okay.
Where I'm just like riding it, but I'm conscious enough to say, okay, I need to work on Wavehouse right now. Right? While I'm doing market research, I need to be able to do this.
Market research.
I really appreciate you taking the market research.
I just don't think it's fully fair to call market research getting drunk off your ass.
Wait. Not everything in it is market. Okay. Sometimes you have to put the book away.
Fair. And sometimes you have to get a bit drunk to see more. So that other people can expose more. Yeah, okay.
It's the same thing as, like, sometimes you have to share one secret so people tell you all theirs.
Yeah.
Some would say it's manipulation, but some people just love secret telling. Yeah. They tell their whole life once you tell them.
Some people love secret hearing, though. And then telling the secrets that they've heard. Yeah, which is the worst type of person.
Oh, listen. That's why I'm so... The same thing of closed book until you ask the right question. I'm very good at sussing those people out. I don't have a circle for that reason. I don't have the ability to trust more than 3 people at a time when I go out. I'm sorry, that is just too much management. Now I must trust you and you and you and you and you to take care of me and yourself and this person. And my head hurts from thinking about all those dynamics.
And the thing is, in a big group, it's not usually like that. It's usually all for themselves. Or that's the groups that I've been in contact with.
Yeah.
The groups that are like the biggest and always go out jolling and like the loudest ones are the ones that are all for themselves. That will leave their friends at a club drunk.
I mean, how many times do those groups break up and then they become smaller groups?
Yeah.
And then they start like they fall in love with the people like you and I who like move groups, not move groups, but are able to fraternize with many different groups because they're like, oh, this guy's so cute. I was like, dude, first of all, Show me some damn respect. Second of all, yeah, I'm fucking sick, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, I think the ebb and flow of people who think like, I mean, some people think that they live free will and fate doesn't exist, and which I personally don't believe you can live a life without some sort of understanding that fate exists. It's kind of like doing a math sum. Like as soon as you see one of the two numbers,
you really kind of know what's going to happen.
There's a result. Yeah, you know this result is either.
But it's also based off what you put into your calculator.
Yeah.
Yeah. But which is based off the actions and stuff that we do to make our fate not happen or happen in our situations.
Yeah. So it's all, I think, the whole thing about friendship. Let's conclude this thing as best we can.
Awesome.
I think on a social level, this country, there's many different ways in which people are social, people in which they understand things. But what I have witnessed, actually, because I have the luxury and the fortunate ability of being able to come and leave the country, and seeing it from different eyes, I do think there's like a stagnation that happens, even though people think they've moved. Like and
they've just moved clubs. they haven't moved up in life. They've just moved clubs.
Or they have a job now, but they haven't progressed. You see, everyone has a different measure of what
is their success.
Yeah, and what progression is in your life.
Yes.
I don't always, for some people, as long as you know what yours is, you're probably also going to change as a person.
Yeah.
But some people have a job, go out on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, have a girlfriend, have a car, live alone, but they're the same person from high school.
That's so scary, hey?
Like they've stagnated
their personality, yes. their individual growth.
Their soul
that is so sad. That is I hope, Leo, if I'm ever stagnant, you will shout at me.
We're gonna have a serious conversation.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think that's the scariest place to be in.
Yeah.
I want to be every single day. I want to be just 2% better than the day before. If that's not by the way that I treat myself or the way that I've treated somebody else or the actions that I do or if it's not something, then I don't feel good.
I think culturally, people are stagnant because the Joburg culture is very fierce. It doesn't wait for you. As much as everything
you're either
stays
at the door or you're not.
And if you're not there a few times, who are you?
And the person that the lady that you were chatting to will be chatting to another guy.
Oh, one time for the one time.
Yeah.
And she's fully allowed to, lads.
No, yeah.
Stop getting angry because the girl went and found someone more interesting. You're boring.
Do better.
Please, read a book. Wash your shoes.
A lot of people need to read a book, huh?
Yeah, something.
Just one book.
Even, like, I bet it's the same people who didn't finish Diary of a Wimpy Kid. You lazy motherfuckers. I hate those people.
I love
finish something. Books. But also some of you that are still reading Percy Jackson for the 8th time, change your books.
Yeah, we a bit grown for Percy Jackson.
Yeah, come on, guys.
I like Percy Jackson. It's great novel series.
Yeah, but that was
but
grade
not at
5.
our age.
Yeah, that was grade 5. I'm sorry. I'm tired now. I'm tired.
Don't want to talk about the labyrinth, okay?
That's unpersonal. And then the final thing I will say after the culture of this place is that I said socially, culturally, spiritually. I think Johannesburg is the most confusing place spiritually because everyone in Joburg comes here. Everyone, if they don't come here, they go to Cape Town. It's a hub of so much that it's impossible to navigate a common conversation, and I don't blame people for it.
But I also think, like, as individuals, if you want to be spiritual, you have to work on it by yourself.
Yes.
Because I think in other places, and I've been fortunate to go overseas, I feel a sense of spirituality walking on the streets overseas because I can just exist and just walk to the shops and just go walk to the park. But in South Africa, I don't have that opportunity or that luxury because it's dangerous. So that sense of spirituality, that sense of like self-claiming almost gets lost for me in Joburg. But again, everybody's spiritual journey is so different. Maybe there are like really spiritual circles in Joburg that we just haven't tapped into yet.
Well, actually, I will say this. I do think even like a funny thing I think is like Toy Toy is a very spiritual experience for some people. Obviously, there are other reasons why it is, but I would say that it is because like, and techno clubs and so like the whole thing of like everyone just saying we don't care what you look like.
We just want to dance.
Come in the club, listen to music. Like I always make the joke, it's very demonic. I need to be close to depression to go to Toy Toy. But I say it more so because that feeling of like listening to music that's so grungy and so dirty and so like bare bones and raw, it's like very tribal.
Yeah, I see that.
And my experience overseas going to techno clubs is everyone, other reasons obviously we're not going to speak because this is a sponsor friendly podcast. I'm not Joe Rogan yet. I don't have that Joe Rogan 100 million
not yet.
Oh no.
These chats will happen eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like once you've built yourself up as a podcast, like you have the name and because I also think spirituality and other substances can also link.
Yeah.
So the chat for another time.
But I do think a lot of, and even even Afrobeats to a certain extent, but like a lot of clubs in certain environments you can make friends there, and you can start to get very close to those people, and you start to explore different like mental levels, even without the use of different substances. Even alcohol counts as a substance. People don't forget that. But I do mean there's just a level of like same wavelength that can get very like, okay, you and I, we're on the same wavelength. Let's have this conversation that pushes us. That a lot of people experience from meeting people in places where it's bare bones. I don't care about what shoes you're wearing.
Yeah.
And
if you're wearing shoes.
Listen, if you're wearing shoes, a t-shirt or anything else, you can't see, you took your contacts out, you threw them away. It's
so smoky, your contacts are fucked anyway.
So those are my conclusions. I don't blame people for not being very far spiritually at times. I just think I applaud people more so when they are actually putting the ignition in and like going further in their journey.
Yeah, but I think that's because of self-awareness.
Oh, thanks.
Like you can choose to not be spiritual if you're self-aware. But as soon as you don't choose to be self-aware, then you're not anything. Are you?
I don't know.
But there's also levels to self-awareness. Like some people just know, okay, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. I'm thirsty, I must drink. I need to go to school, so I'll go. Not, my body's feeling really down today. My heart isn't feeling normal. Like, let me sit and stay still and figure out the root of this issue. See, I do figure out the root. But it's for myself. It's for my emotions that I do that. I must just apply it to other things, so then I'll be a lot more knowledgeable.
But I mean, you're a very people person, you're very people centric. Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas I can do that also.
But you can also not.
Yeah.
You can choose to switch that side of you off.
Yeah, I more times than not
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't found the off switch yet.
But you see what have you ever heard of like the what's it? The downfall of the generalist. It's kind of like this idea where people who aren't good at like one thing specifically, they can be good at like a few things, but it's like not to a good extent.
Yeah.
Because their brain just goes, okay, cool, now this thing.
And then
okay,
you give like half attention to everything rather than full attention to one.
So like my ability to go to the roots of things, I can go to Mindspace about Midnight Gospel, but then I can't go to a full thing about Buddhism, maybe, that would explain how the Dalai Lama is who he is and why he gets to that thing. Because I might just say, okay, this is not my depth anymore. Or I might just say, wait, I found something that's different to this, that's more interesting, like in terms of a people skill thing, maybe. You know, like I get into that very often.
Yes.
Which, it messed me up a bit like in school, I'll say. Because I was never good at like...
deciding which person you can speak to about what.
Yeah, so
how much you can, how much, and you're chatting about Buddhism to a kid who doesn't even understand Christianity or religion.
What are you talking about? I'm just trying to have a fucking Capri Sun. You're telling me about mind space stillness within yourself,
God,
changing your heartbeat from like this to this,
floating.
I'm just trying to figure out what time we're going to the Joel tomorrow. I'm like, I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me go talk to these people, and it's like.
Or let me adjust the conversation to be on your level.
Yeah.
And that it makes me like irk saying that, because I never want to like set myself apart from anybody because I'm on a different level. Like that sounds so shitty, but it's just the facts. And I've had to come to terms with the fact that I do exist on a mental level that other people do not. And I think you've helped me reassure the fact that it's not a bad thing to be confident and a little bit cocky in the fact that I think my brain is better than others.
Sometimes you have to do it. The thing my mom always says to me, and like I nearly had that fear with like doing art and stuff, but it's like sometimes she's like, and she's still, you know, practicing Christian again. She's like, God will take away the things you don't use or you're not appreciative of. And I just related it more so now as I got older. It was like, if you don't nurture whatever it is, and a lot of people,
it'll fall away.
Oh, it'll go.
Yeah.
So like even with art, I had a moment where I stopped being confident about it. But it was only because I just didn't put in time to
practice.
I looked through my old art file. I was getting 10 out of 10 for composition because I can see things that other people are not seeing. I'm putting things together that other people just like, what?
Yeah.
But I wasn't taking the time to like do a whole piece of art that some people like can understand. So then I would just be like, then that faith thing, I'm not going to do it half-heartedly, change the whole thing last minute. I'm doing something simple. Now the teacher's like, I mean, it's good, but like, I know what you were trying to do 5 months ago. What happened?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I lost my confidence in that. And then I decided, you know what? I'm really smart at business and all this other stuff. But then luckily it led me to a lot of history, a lot of, you know, sociology, psychology, that side of it. So in some ways I was like, that decision, fate took me where I needed to go without me knowing it. Because now I'm back and doing all this art stuff. I'm out here doing this.
Yeah.
I'm out here,
being creative. Yeah. Being a creative. I just
one day said, I was like, some of these guys who are in this politics stuff with me, they are boring as hell. Out here doing arguments that are so obvious. Yeah. And I'm telling you, nah, this is just because of how I think.
Yes.
So what do you think? The final 3 things, the social, the cultural, and the spiritual. How would you like to finish it and tell people before we close?
I think that this is a really fucked up world, and that you should constantly strive to be the best type of person that you can be, even if it means you have to be selfish for yourself at times. Just don't harm other people, and read a book. Read a book about spirit. Read this book. Read the 7, what is it called again? The 7 spiritual laws of success. Read it and try understand it. And that's all I have to say. Thanks, Leo.
All right. So the final thing, if you could name today's episode, what would you name it?
All the Vibes with Nicole.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Wavehouse podcast hosted by your favorite Uncle Leo on Instagram, Leo Zakele Johnson. For all of you sponsors who are prepared to sponsor this hell of a ride, because I'm telling you, this conversation is tame compared to what we could read.
And this is only the beginning.
This is only the beginning. Greatness only. Please email me at thewavehouse101@gmail.com. I had to think about that one. And if you would like me to do any of your creative ever, just hit me up on the Wavehouse Instagram. Thank you so much. Stay safe, everybody. Love yourself and love the world. Goodbye.
Bye.